are back in the panic room with Kat. She is going to give us some Christmas party makeup tips. If you're headed out for a holiday event this season, it is that time of year. And I think it can be a little bit overwhelming, Kat, when you're getting ready for your party and you're just not sure how you can make your everyday makeup look kind of pop and stand out a little bit.
Most definitely. So we're going to get started.
Now, do you always recommend, Kat, kind of starting with a moisturizer or some sort of cream as a foundation before you start putting on your foundation?
Oh, for sure. Especially in this winter weather, it's really hard on people's skin. So having a cream that really makes your foundation look flawless in itself, regardless of what foundation you're using. So it's really important to just pay attention to how your skin wears, because no matter what, you can cover up color, but you cannot cover up any kind of texture that your skin has.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah,
no, for
my
sure.
skin itself can attest to that.
Yeah, no, I really like using any kind of cream, or setting the skin's the first step, right? And close. I'm just going to add a silicone-based primer onto Falon's lid. Silicone-based polymer blend primers can hold up to 6 times its own weight in facial oil. So it's going to ensure that your makeup lasts over 12 hours, because you definitely want that if you're going to a party and you're going to be having a lot of fun. You don't want to sweat off your makeup or anything. So a primer is the best thing you can do before you get started. So I'm a big fan of bold brows, and bold brows, I don't see the trend of going away anytime soon. So I'm going to fill in Falon's brows with an angled brush and a dark brown to match her hair. I'm going to do small strokes into the grain of the hair. If you're going to be using any kind of dip brow or cream, you definitely want to comb it out so you have a natural look. Sculpted brows are very in, but if they look like they're drawn on with a Sharpie, people tend to ask questions. I'm going to take what looks like a mascara wand. It's called a spoolie. I'm going to comb that product right into Falon's brows. That's really going to give it a more natural look, and also it's going to put the hair where I want it to go. You can use like certain brow gels to comb the hair, but Falon's are pretty easy to work with, so I'm just going to comb them in. I'm going to start off with the base color, just a nice matte skin tone powder. Just to start us off, it's always good to give yourself a nice base before doing any kind of eye makeup, because it blends better and it looks more even, especially after you put on a primer. After putting on a base, I like to go in with a small, like a super light contour. I'm pressing that into the crease of the eye, blending it out slightly. I'm basically mapping out what I'm going to do with a lighter color first, and that way you can kind of see where you're going. If you don't, sometimes you can get really blotchy and uneven shapes when you blend. It's really nice if you can just kind of start off light and work your way to dark. Awesome. Starting with a super natural highlighter now, I'm going to go onto the lid of Falon's eyes and onto the brow bone. That's going to act as a little bit of like an eye lift, especially if people are finding that there's just not enough space for them under the brow and through the crease. If you add a highlighter there, it'll automatically kind of raise it up for you. Perfect. I'm going to go with a darker color, and I'm just going to accentuate that crease a bit more. I call this the dot and blend method, because literally I put a dot of color, make sure it's where I want it to be, and then I lightly blend it out. That way you ensure that the color is where it needs to be, the concentration of it, and when you blend it out, you aren't left with any kind of weird eye placement, because you've already placed it. All you're doing is blending it out, and because you put the base of that shadow on there already, it's going to blend nice and easy for you. Alright, and now because we're going to go in with like a purple and a pink tone for Falon's eye makeup, I'm going to start bringing out the colors. After I do kind of a base, contour, and highlight, we're going to have some fun. So I'm going in with the matte pink, and I'm literally just going to tap that into the crease and blend it out. I'm going to go into the shade darker of a pink, more of a dusty rose color, into the corners, and blend it inward. The dimension's already put there because we made our base with the dark contour. Now we're just kind of going over and accentuating it with a different color. And now for purple, I'm going to go in with the dark purple with a red sparkle. Again, the dot and blend technique.
Are there some big colors you're finding this holiday season?
Right now it's a lot of actual like golds and silvers. And those are super fun. But I'm a big fan of adding a little bit of color on the eye, especially since I find that holiday seasons, people tend to break out of their shell a little bit more. So I like to take advantage of that.
Is there kind of a rule of thumb you have for using any sort of, when you are kind of using more glitter colors or sparkly colors, is there kind of a, method that not, you don't want to be a Barbie doll or something like that?
For sure. Definitely, if you're going to be using a sparkle, make sure it's a cosmetic grade. You don't want to scratch your cornea by using any kind of craft sparkle. There are some sparkles out there that are cosmetic grade. Make sure you use those. And if you find that sparkle is just a little too dramatic for you, going in with the frost or a shimmer is okay, but use it within reason. I find that if you create your base with the matte color first and then add pops of shimmer, pops of frosts, you're going to get a much more dignified look, and you're just going to be happier with the overall product. All right, so I'm going to do a nice thick cat eye on Falon. And yes, cat eye from Katt. I like to use gel eyeliners because gel eyeliners, I can scoop them out to keep them sanitary for one, and two, they are 100% waterproof, cry-proof, snow-proof, sleep-proof.
All those things that can happen.
All the things that can happen, yes. And I'm not saying that you should do this, but I have definitely worn my gel eyeliner for a couple days working on film sets because I slept in it, woke up in it, and I was like, oh, it looks good, and then I left it. So
I like the sound of that.
yeah, it's awesome. All right, so Falon, I'm going to look down to the ground. I'm going to do a thing called tight lining. It's when you go underneath the lashes. People who have really blonde lashes, this is a good technique for you because you're really going to get in there and darken that space up and not have any weird gaps when you put on your eyeliner on top. Okay. And look at me. Perfect. All right. And then the other eye. Am I doing okay?
Oh yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right, and then after that, I'm gonna start with the cat eye. So cat eye is kind of like riding a bike. Once you get the hang of it, you're just going to get better and better, but as long as you practice. When doing cat eye on people, I take kind of a really detailed, stiff brush, something small that I can really do a lot of detail with. I go in close to the lashes, and I line them really tight in there. I build it up slowly so I can get it right on both sides. It's the best thing you can do. Starting out thick, usually you won't get a shape that you're happy with. And open. Awesome. Alright, so to build a cat eye, you want to go onto the angle of the nose to the end of the eye to the eyebrow. And I've taken the eyebrow down just a bit far. That's the angle that you're going to want to go. As long as you follow those angles, you won't have a weird placement for your cat eye. Your cat eye won't be up super straight. It's not going to be winged up too far. It's going to be just perfect. So to start with that, I'm going to pull the skin a little bit, make sure there's not too much product on my brush. And get a perfect line. And then after that, that's when I start to thicken it up and perfect it. So I pull it taut again, and then I just pull it over to the angle. Oh, sorry, that was my phone. And open. Awesome. I love it. It's like
I'm really close right now. That's why I'm like,
oh, perfect.
I can see like the detail what you're doing there.
Awesome. And open. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. So I'm going to continue on with the other eye now and just mirror that as good as possible. You'll never be able to mirror it exactly just by doing one eye then the other. You always have to go back and look and make sure they're identical. You're probably going to have to switch something because the natural face shapes are never 100% symmetrical anyways. But once you understand the contours and little quirks of your face, you can really go around and work with them and you'll know what to do. And open. Awesome.
I think that's good advice because I feel like that's basically the girl struggle is trying to match
their eyeliner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate girl struggle, I think.
They said like if there's a girl late in the room and she has cat eyeliner, never ask questions because it is so true. All right, I just need to make that a little thicker. I want to try that. Wait. See that? And open. Oh, how exciting. All right. So after I do cat eyes, that's when I really like to have fun and start darkening the crease. I use the cat eye as a map. So I'll do my eye makeup halfway, and then I'll see how it looks, and then I'll go from there. I'm going to go in with a matte dark brown now, because browns and purples go really well together, because they're both kind of warm. So,
Quick to know the color.
yeah. All right, so actually, and this is me, just being me, I see something I don't like, so I'm gonna like go in and tweak it just a bit, because I don't like the way that ridges. And open. That's better. Alrighty, so going in with a detailed brush again, I'm gonna get some nice dark pigment on there, and I'm going to seriously match that cat eye with it. Again, the dot placement, dot it where I want it to be. And then I'm going to take a fluffy brush to blend it all the way out, the way up. It's really going to give you a nice defined, dramatic cat eye, smoky eye. And open. And it's going to make sure your placement's correct. If you kind of make sure they've blended in together, you're always going to be a happy camper. And open. Awesome. So the final touch for the top lid now is I'm going to go in with a sparkle pigment. So when working with a pigment, it's loose powder, which can be difficult if you're not used to it. The best way to do it is make sure you do the eyes first, then the foundation second, because that way if you do have any fallout, you can clean it up super easy. I'm just collecting it on a fluffy brush and close. I'm going to just place it in the tear duct and on the inner corner of the lid. That's really going to bring that forward and take your sophisticated sexy look to a holiday glam look.
I like that.
And open. Perfect. We're just going to get that right in there. All right, so there's just a couple more things I want to do before we wrap up Falon's eyes, which are usually the most important when you do makeup. Is we're going to do a bottom liner. When I'm doing a eye makeup look like this, that's pretty dramatic, I like to go in, I'll get you to look up. I take a cream colored powder and I line the bottom waterline with it. That's gonna open your eyes. Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
or open them up further, I suppose. Awesome. And then after doing that, I just take a little bit of the dark black brown that we use, that's matte, and I feather it in underneath. There we go. To add a bottom dark eyeliner that is super soft and almost barely there. Awesome. And after that is all said and done, we're going to throw some lashes on Falon because no holiday look is complete without a set of eyelashes.
Now, I think eyelashes can be very intimidating for people who don't use them very often. So what is your tips for kind of choosing an eyelash? You know, you don't want, you know, if you're not used to them, maybe you don't want to have the big feather lashes or something, or maybe you do, but what is your kind of recommendation for choosing a lash?
Well, to start, if you've never worn lashes before, don't be intimidated. They're super easy once you get the hang of them. I'd recommend practicing before actually doing them the night of your big Christmas party. But you definitely want to find the ones that look like they have like little tufts of hair on invisible thread. Those ones are the most comfortable. If they have a super black thick band, those ones are not going to bend very well for you when you blink, and they're probably going to lift at the end of the night. These ones will stay on like the whole night and you won't even feel them. So
you don't want by the end of the night your eyelash half off.
Exactly.
Might give you away a little bit.
Totally, right? So we're just going to work with that. All right, and let's see here. I did have tweezers, but who knows what happened to them exactly. After whatever happened at the expo, it was kind of a blur, and now it's like, do I even have tweezers anymore? But if not, we'll work without. But see, I've got scissors, which are good. We'll need those. And little tweezers. Do-do-do. If not, that's okay. I'll forgive you. I know, right? I know this poor kid has seen better days for sure, but throughout all the weddings and craziness that's been going on, it's kind of like, well, All right, so we're gonna get started. I like to use just like a latex-based clear eyelash glue. You can buy black, and black's super awesome, but it's kind of hard to find in Lethbridge. But if you do find black, feel free to pick it up. It's a little more advanced because if you get that glue anywhere else, it is black and it is not going anywhere. So the clear is a little more forgiving. And if you do them properly, you're not really going to be worried about getting that clear latex glue anywhere. So, all right, just pull from the outside because you're most likely going to be cutting a little bit off the outside. You want to fit them to your eyes. These guys come one size fits all, and we want to taper them to your eye perfectly so it ensures a better, more comfortable fit, a better wear, things like that. So I get to look down, and I'm just going to place them as close as I can to her natural lashes. I can tell right away that they're a little big, so I'm probably going to take the two little notches off the end off. Just about right there. We're going to cut those babies off.
Okay.
And so that's kind of your guideline, just follow the natural lash line.
For sure, because if you don't, your lashes kind of might tilt down, they won't look right, they won't sit right, and you'll be like hating them. This way, you probably won't even feel that they're on. So I like just kind of drag my lash band across the glue, double dip on the corners, because that's usually where they kind of lift is on the corners. So if you disperse it evenly and then double dip on the corners, you're probably going to get a better wear.
Great, because I've definitely had that problem before by the end. It's like flipping up at the end of the night.
Oh, for sure, right? So yeah, and then when the glue is white, that means it's not ready to apply. When it starts to go clear, that's when you want to apply them. And you have like a 3-second window, so you really have to be watching it and be precise. Usually it's about 25 to 30 seconds. So just kind of keep an eye out that. So
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's kind of awesome. So kind of wave it around. When you do the people's eyelashes, you never blow on them because that's gross. I learned that in makeup school. I still see people do it. I'm like, why are you blowing? Your saliva is going on your eyelash. It's so nasty. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. All right, so starting to cure now. I'm going to keep your eyes open and just look down. If you have your eyes open and you apply them, you're going to get a natural, better fit because your eyes are open 90% of the time when you're wearing eyelashes. And open. How do they feel?
Really good.
Yeah? They feel good?
I don't even notice, yeah.
Yeah, I know. So we're just gonna continue on with the other eye now.
So is it the same thing then if you're applying them on yourself? Do you still like recommend looking down, or how do you kind of?
I would try to definitely look down. If you stretch the eye, you're gonna warp it. You're going to stretch the skin, and then when it bounces back, you're gonna get ripples. So the best thing you can do is kind of do this, and just set them on. Yeah. Try to keep it as natural as possible. Yeah. And that way, you're just gonna like your life a little bit better.
Yes, you really will. I can attest.
All right, there we go. Got those babies off. And again, look down, size them up. Make sure they look okay. I'm gonna take 2 off the end again. Always size each eye separately because every eye is a little bit off from the other one.
Right.
Yeah. And you can keep these guys, and if you want, you could put them on the ends, like, you know, when you're done. Yeah, it's like, it looks like a little spider.
Yeah.
My cats will take them and they'll run around. It's very interesting.
Them on themselves.
Yeah. Like, come back here. I need to put on your eyelashes, kitties. All right, so let's get you look down again. When placing them, I like to place the middle first, and then make sure the end's attached. Actually, just gonna, there we go. Attach the middle first, then the ends. And then after they're on, I'm gonna get you to close. I'm gonna press them into the makeup. That way it's gonna naturally lift them anyways. You can apply mascara on after. And that will also help them lift. Mess them around a bit. Make sure they're in the natural curl of the natural lash. And open. Beauty. All right, so after we're kind of done with that look, because we used a loose pigment, I do need to set your eyes separately. Oh. So I'm gonna get you to close, and I'm gonna get you to breathe in and out nice and slow. A setting mist, and I'll get you to keep close just while that dries. A setting mist is really good because you definitely need, for those loose pigments to become solid onto the skin, because if not, you'll get a bunch of fallout, you'll be really upset, you'll have sparkles everywhere. So no matter what you do, make sure you have a setting gel or a setting spray or some Liquicet, something that's really going to adhere them to the skin, because you can press them onto the skin, but they will eventually, they will disperse. I'm just going to brush away any fallout that I have. And then I'm going to prime her face. So when putting on a primer, I'm just going to take a foundation brush and just kind of glide it over the T-zone first. It's kind of like foundation. You never want to apply foundation all over the face, a thick mask. It's going to read as a thick mask. When you're applying foundation, you always want to start, the concentration is in the center of the face, blend it outward. We don't want to have any kind of weird lines or anything. So same with primer. And so after I've got enough kind of makeup or primer put on Falon's face, I'm going to take a sponge and I'm just going to blend it out. The less product on the face, the better. It's going to give you a flawless finish. You're not going to look cakey or like you have a thick makeup application. The less product is the best. And Falon's got pretty awesome skin, so I don't really have to worry about covering up anything.
Oh, you humor me.
So yeah, we don't have to really worry so much about any kind of color correcting. After that's done, when I do makeup on people, I really like to airbrush their foundation. But when at home, I don't airbrush mine. So, some tips and tricks of actual foundation application is, like I said, in the middle of the face, start on the T-zone, and then blend it outward, because nobody really ever needs too much makeup on the corners of the face, unless they're covering up like a rosacea, a scar, a blemish. Otherwise, make sure you do a thin layer and blend it out with a sponge. You don't need a ton of makeup on. And I get you to breathe in and out nice and slow. Awesome. So after I have a base foundation of the airbrush, I don't go too heavy with it because you don't want to cake on your foundation. After you put on your contouring, your highlighting, your setting powders, and your blushes, it can get to be a little much. So you're saving yourself a little bit of headache by putting on your foundation super light, especially if you don't need to put it on heavy. So awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So you're pretty warm toned. I've got lots of setting powders I like to choose from. And because Falon's pretty warm tone, I'm going to go in with the warm tone setting powder and mix it with the light tone setting powder. At home though, the best thing you can do when you are setting your makeup is either a translucent powder or a compact powder that matches your liquid foundation. Looking at Falon's skin, I'm going to contour with a kind of a medium taupe color. Going in with the fluffy brush, and I'm just going to feather that in, and then into the temple and under the cheekbone, and just kind of blend that out. Don't go farther than the eyeball when you contour, or else you'll start looking like you're kind of Skeletor. We don't want that.
Not this time of year.
No, if this is Halloween.
Different story.
But definitely when contouring for holiday parties, don't go past the eye. You're gonna save yourself a lot of trouble. And then don't forget to go into the hairline, kind of blend that in. And then down the nose. After I got the highlight or the contouring done, I'm gonna go with the highlighter. And I'm gonna go in with a brush that looks similar to this. With highlighting, I really like to sculpt. I really enjoy sculpting faces. So I'm gonna go with the medium highlighter. I'm just gonna put that right under here, bring it down. The whole idea with contouring and highlighting is you're gonna go into the high points of the face, bring them outward, go into the shallow parts of the face and bring them down, right? So bring in those cheekbones in a little more, bring those, or the cheekbones down a little more, raised up a little bit. So we're just gonna kind of go on that jawbone, on the chin, and on the forehead. I probably can move her a little bit towards you. And down the nose. And I really like to go right onto the upper lip too, because I kind of like to make sure they have a pout. So. And then after that, I go with the second highlight, something that's a little lighter, still matte color. I'm just gonna tap that up here. I'm also gonna go on top of the brow bone, because I really like to raise those brows and define them. So just up here. You can also do this with the shimmer color, because it is the holidays. However, I'm a big fan of matte shadows and matte highlighters, so we're just gonna kind of bring that up right on the tip of the nose too. And then right here as well. Make sure that's all covered. Awesome. And make sure it's all blended out. After that, you go in with the blush.
Now, do you think people can get away with a little bit of a brighter blush for holiday parties, or what do you kind of recommend?
Oh, for sure. The cool thing about holiday parties is that there's so much you can do that you don't usually do.
Yeah.
So really break out of your comfort zone. So for you, regular day, I'd probably do like a dusty rose, something I'm going to. But because you're going to a holiday party, and because you do have kind of dramatic eyes, I do want to play up your cheeks just a bit more. So I'm going to go in with this nice kind of strawberry pink color. Because Falon has kind of a mixture between an inverted triangle face and a square face, I'm going to actually take the blush. I'm going to pat it along here, of course, depositing it up here, and I'm actually going to bring it up just a bit. That's actually going to help raise everything, right? Yeah. There's different blush placements for face shapes, just like everything else, so it's kind of nice to pay attention to what flatters you most. And just kind of feather it up, Kevin Aucoin style. Awesome. So after we kind of do the blush on Falon, I'm going to do lip color, but then also what you probably already noticed is that I haven't actually concealed any of the under eye yet. That is the final touch, because you want to make sure that all of the makeup that would fall has fallen, right?
Oh, that's brilliant. You always think, well, I always think it's one of the first things you do, but
it's the last thing.
Touch.
Yeah, it's the final touch, and that way you know what's already fallen, and if it's actually being a big issue, you can set it again, or if it's being all right, like we're pretty good now, but there's a couple of spots that I'm going to clean up, but that's my final touch. So after I do the lip color, we'll do that. So the same rule applies for lip color. When it's the holiday season, you can really play it up, but because we have a pretty dramatic eye, we've got bold brows, a dramatic cheek, I'm not gonna play that up anymore with the lips. So I'm gonna go in with like kind of a dusty rose color. I'm gonna mix it in with a shimmer, and we're gonna do that. And the one thing about lip color is that pick a really awesome lipstick and make sure to spend some money on it, because if you have a lipstick that costs you a couple of dollars at like a grocery store or anything, it might dry out your lips. And because we are in the winter season, we don't want to have that happen to you.
That was my concern. That's what I was just gonna ask you.
Yeah, so I'm using a high quality, heavy pigmented lipstick that actually has moisturizing properties as well. But yeah, if your lipstick, in your case or whatever you're using, if it is drying out your lips, please throw it out. That means it's not a good quality lipstick. It's gonna fade, and you shouldn't be spending that kind of money on something anyways. That's just gonna, counteract or be counterproductive. So I'm just going in. I've turned this lipstick into a gloss by adding kind of a shimmer pigment to it and a primer. When doing the under eye, you want to make sure you target what color is coming out. So under Falon's eyes, there's a little bit of like purple and red pigment. So to counteract that, I'm going to have to go with a little bit of warm pigment, a little bit of yellows to bring that back to life before I set it with a powder.
Now, is that kind of common for people, or what kind of colors do you find that people tend to have under their eyes?
Well, actually, it's strange. It actually depends on people's backgrounds, like their ethnicities. Because certain people, if they have a cooler skin tone, lots of pinks and reds, or sometimes lots of dark purples, and all those you need to kind of go in with different colors to combat them.
Right.
So I'm going to kind of go in. I'm going to custom mix Falon a concealer. Mix it on my lovely palette here. And the whole thing about under eyes is that because it's a part of the face that's got very thin skin, and there's a lot of texture. No matter who you are, there's a lot of texture under here. It's just the way it is, because eyeballs there's a contour. So the best thing you can do is just take a sponge, rip it. You don't want to put too much product there, because it's going to accentuate those, and then you're going to have a bad time. Take your sponge, get a little bit of that product on the edge there, and get you to look up. Deposit it right into the corners. That's usually where the most color is. And then after that, I take the other part of the sponge I didn't use, and I literally just blend it out as much as I can. It's good to cover, but then you don't want to add any more texture or any cakiness under that eye area. It can really ruin a makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And after that's blended out and I'm happy with how it looks, I'm going to go in with a violet translucent powder. This is one of my favorite products, actually. The violet takes out any kind of unnatural warmth, which is nice. And it also smells like lilies, which is like the best thing
Just
ever.
a twofer.
I know, right? So I'm just going to look up. I'm just going to pat that underneath and just kind of blend it up.
I would have never thought a violet powder would be the...
Oh, it's amazing. It's a product that was invented in the 1930s.
Wow.
Violet powder.
How has this been around for so long and I didn't know?
I know, right? So after that, after we are happy with Falon's look, I'm going to set her again with another spray. I'll get you to close and breathe in and out nice and slow. Awesome. So that's going to make sure that all the makeup stays all day and that there's no smudging or any kind of weird things happening.
Oh my goodness. That cat eye is perfect.
And do you like it?
I love it.
It's a little thicker, but I wanted to go a little more dramatic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love it, Kat. As always. I love it.